Welcome to part 3 of this Imposter Syndrome series, where I'm giving you lots and lots of tools to play with, to experiment with, so we can just not let it have so much power. And I think it's taking up so much space in these conversations. And actually, you and I have both got bigger fish to fry. I'm a poet and I don't even know it. So yeah, let's look at how we can move with it, shake with it, and then move through it. So on a Wednesday, I talk about visibility. And this is really crucial to your business. Now, how you want to do this is entirely up to you. And the great news is you get to decide. So if you are a podcast person, great, do a podcast. If you're more video or a writer, do those things too. But the answer here is not to do anything because you're frightened of getting it wrong, or you can't decide, or you're an introvert, so visibility is not for you. In 2024, we have to be visible. Nobody can just put your name into Google and find you immediately. There has to be some kind of connection. The internet is too busy. So knowing those things and knowing that visibility has to be part in some shape or form of your brand, we have to find ways to work with it. And I've got 5 things for you to try today to make friends with it and move through it and do this on your terms. Number 1, you can't think action. As in, you can write the most glorious Excel spreadsheet of all your content ideas, get everything out of your head into a spreadsheet. Until that piece of content goes live, you haven't really completed the task. And this is an interesting one, and one I want to bring up because so many people think a content strategy is about creating it. And actually, it's about executing it. It's about seeing what happens when. It's all very well writing all of these ideas or topics or getting big pieces of paper and saying, oh, I could talk about that, or maybe this, or I'm not sure about that, until it's out there in the world. This strategy is not working for you. Yes, it may look beautiful in a spreadsheet. Yes, you might have color coordinated it or something like that. But the whole point of a content strategy is for people to get to know you and see what you have for sale. So it's really important to get going with whatever you're doing or planning right now and start putting it out there. Start having the conversation. Again, I often relate these things to dating, is that sometimes people want to prepare so much behind the scenes doing all of the things. And actually, the first thing you probably need to do is to start talking to people. And it's the bit, I get it, that people don't want to do. Like, oh no, I'd rather just do all of this other stuff over here. But if you can begin that first conversation, and we're talking now again about your content and putting yourself out there, that's when things are going to begin to move. Number 2. I want you to set yourself up for success and don't try to be everything to everyone. And we get an opportunity here to have a voice and to use that voice in so many different ways. However, you have to be very intentional about why you are on social media. And I know for me that I am moving much more towards it being social and me seeing other people's things. But more importantly, it's about business for me. And I've really made that effort this year that I want to have more in-person interactions. I want to be offline more. I don't want to be staring at my phone the whole time. And so the time that I have online, I'm being very intentional with it. Why am I here? What am I doing? What is the purpose of this? And also, again, we can try and talk to everybody because we want to be inclusive. But what can happen sometimes is we're trying so hard to be inclusive and to second guess how people are going to receive something, or being frightened of being cancelled or something like that. And again, you'll have your own ways of doing this. Obviously, you don't want to get to a point where it's like, I don't know, I'll just say it. You don't want to do that either. But really setting yourself up for success, and figuring out your purpose, your messaging, who you're going to be really great for, and doing that will allow yourself not to feel like you're being diluted and everything being a bit lukewarm and you're not really sure where to position yourself. Take a stand. And I remember years ago, a director said this to the whole class. This is why we were training. When you go to a script or when you go into a room, make a decision, make a choice. And that has always stuck with me, because if you're trying to second guess everything the whole time and you're a bit wishy-washy and it's like, well, I'm not sure if I'm this or I'm that, it's confusing for an audience. So you can absolutely make a choice. And if it's the wrong choice for you, you can choose it and change it and choose again. Number 3, rehearsal and practice. We put so many big expectations on ourselves, and we forget that actually it's okay to be a beginner. It's okay to practice. It's okay to get it wrong. And there's so much emphasis on you've got this, or go in and nail it. And sometimes we can't go into rooms and nail something if we are not at a point where we can nail it. So what I want to say is, instead of just saying to yourself, right, go on, you can do this, this is going to be great, just do it anyway, feel the fear. When I'm doing that, I always ask myself, is there more work to be done here? Am I prepared for this? Are there gaps in whatever it is that I'm trying to present? Do I need to practice this a lot more at home? And if the answer is yes, do it. That is a whole part of the process. And when I've worked with people on my Speak Up course, is they're almost disappointed the first time, where they're like, I mean, they do their first speaking gig and they're like, yeah, most of it was good, but like I did this and this went wrong and then my slides got stuck. And it's one of those things that you learn through practicing, you learn through rehearsal, because things will go wrong, but it's how you then move through it and continue and don't get stuck in the process. Number 4, a way to work with imposter syndrome. So that sense of, who am I to say this? What's the point? Am I qualified enough? However it shows up for you, is to be very intentional about the journey that you're taking people on. So there are some speakers, and yes, I've heard them, and speakers who just talk about their life history. Like, I've done this is what I'm all about. These are my accolades. This is where I excelled. This was fantastic. I'm brilliant at this. And if you're somebody who is feeling all the feels, and the thought of going on stage and talking about yourself and how great you are, flip it around. Talk about the journey, or plan out the journey you want to take the audience on. So imagine they're coming into you. Where do you want them to start? What is the middle? And what's the end? And as soon as you make it about the audience instead of about you, the imposter syndrome starts to move away, because you're too busy in that moment of, right, I'm going to lead the way here. We're going to do this. I've got you. I'm supporting you. I'm connected. I'm engaged in this conversation, rather than just being over here going, hi guys, I'm great. Hi, this is what I do. I'm amazing. That can lead to the little voice being unlocked. Whereas if we're in service mode, if we're in giving value mode, it's going to be so much easier. Number 5. This really, really works for me, and it's something I always incorporate into my speaking, into my content, is sensory storytelling. Sensory storytelling is brilliant for welcoming people in, creating imagery, keeping people engaged, really harnessing a point, really giving depth and flavor to what it is that you want to say. And I think sometimes people think, well, I've just got to read these 5 bullet points that I've written. And actually, I'm not sure about number 3. And when I say number 4, it makes me feel a bit ick. And that's when the voice of, is this a bit boring? Who are you to do this? Etc., etc. If you go into the storytelling, if you really get inside the point that you want to make and bring it to life, you go into being, again, productive, really showing up for what it is that you want to do and going from there. So let me know how you get on. If you want help in speaking, come over to Speak Up. There are 3 ways to join. I would love to have you and help and support you. And I'll see you tomorrow for part 4. If you missed part 1 and 2, by the way, go back. There are loads of things. The first in terms of your dreaming and your goal setting, and the second in terms of your money. They are juicy. Please share them with a friend or follow on Substack or subscribe to the YouTube channel. I would absolutely love that. Lots of love. Bye.